I'm Amy Ashenden. Last year I produced The Gay Word, which is a feature-length documentary about the negative use of the word gay. I produced it in about 2 months, so it was very fast-paced. It was a lot squeezed into a short space of time, but I tried to take a journey around the southeast of England and speak to as many people as I could, straight and gay and all other kinds of identities, to try and see why it is that I was still hearing the word gay used in a negative way. I felt like it was something that had come from my teenage years and school, but I was still hearing adults saying it, and I wondered why that was. And what also really intrigued me was why there are people that are so defensive about using the word gay negatively and say it's nothing to do with homophobia. They don't dislike gay people, they don't have negative feelings about gay people, and this word is just an evolution of language. And then there were people saying, how can you say it's not homophobic? It seems intrinsically linked to homophobia. And I wondered how that gap had developed, and I felt like there was nothing out there that really bridged that gap in a way that wasn't biased. So I really hope to be as objective as possible. I didn't want to narrow the documentary into being a queer film for queer people, not that that's a bad thing to do, obviously, but I wanted it to be something that's accessible for all, and that anyone with not just any identity but any opinion could come to and watch and maybe actually reevaluate how they feel about it. I did a screening recently. I went back to my university in Southampton, and it was like an open lecture, and we had a discussion after we'd all watched the film. And there were lots of languages students there, which was really interesting to hear what they thought about the linguistics of it all. And then there was this guy there who just heard about the lecture and come along, and he said, I didn't really get it before, I didn't see the problem. When I used to say gay negatively, people used to tell me, oh, you can't say that, and I used to think, why? I don't see the problem, I'm not trying to be horrible. And he said, watching the film, I just realised that it stops people being able to be themselves, and that's a reason not to say it. So it's been really interesting seeing how the film has changed people's minds. ELOP approached me recently to do a screening in East London. That was part of LGBT History Month, and it was a really great opportunity to meet some young people that had come from an LGBT youth group. And we had a panel discussion after we'd watched the film, and as usual it was great to hear what young people thought, because young people are the people that are really affected by this issue. I have to say, I think people, gay and straight, are affected by this issue of all ages, but I think sometimes adults, it's not necessarily easier for adults to deal with the issue, but I think they're perhaps more used to dealing with things like that, whereas young people, they're perhaps going through a bit of a harder time with coming out and trying to navigate all these issues, and I think this is one of them, so it was nice to see the audience that I feel it could really speak to. So what I hope will come from the film is that people will perhaps rethink their opinions, and I really hope that I can get the film into schools. That's the place I really feel that the documentary could have an impact, because this is an issue that is really specific to young people, particularly as you see in the film, that it's often very common in schools and colleges and places like that. So I think it could be a really good tool, I hope, for schools to start a discussion, because sex education, there's not many guidelines. Stonewall really helps with that, but teachers kind of have to go out of their way and try and work out how to build sex education lessons. So it's a great way to start conversations about identity and freedom of speech and, the right to offend or right to free speech. I think LGBT History Month is really, really important. It gives us a chance to allow people to be visible that are LGBTQ, and gives us a chance to hold events like these, bring the community together in a way that's doesn't just evolve around clubs and bars, and a chance for LGBT people to learn about their history as well, which is really important.